Over the course of his long career, Alistair Overeem has racked up a higher body count than an average modern-day college girl.
Hey, let him out, Joe.
At the same time, he's also been on the receiving end of concussive damage more than once.
Get a matchup with him. Got him!
However, ahead of UFC 156, with a title shot at stake, the Dutchman had a lot going for him. He was riding high with a 6-year-long unbeaten streak of 12 matches.
Oh, jumping knee from Overeem. Standing guillotine. Oh, it's over! It's good night, Overeem!
In addition, he managed to capture the belt in K1.
How do you get up? It's over! It's good night, Overeem!
As well as Strikeforce.
Alistair Overeem! Quick work!
And Dream.
Punching knee from the ring. He taps him. It's over! Good night, Overeem!
At his juicy peak, Alistair made even Brock Lesnar look unassuming.
So much pain! No! It is all!
The Ream's only misstep was the recently failed doping test, forcing him to reconfirm the #1 contender status. The one selected for this purpose was Antonio Bigfoot Silva.
He's one big, huge walking target, and I'm pretty good at striking, and he's just going to be a number on my list, a statistic.
But after shockingly upsetting Fedor and beating Travis Brown to a pulp,
And Brown might be out. Antonio Bigfoot Silva!
Silva was eager to place another gem onto his gauntlet. Overeem poked fun at Bigfoot's clumsiness in the lead-up and called the Brazilian just another number on his record. Silva took that personally and entered the cage looking for revenge as much as victory.
The Ream against Bigfoot.
The first 2 rounds were dictated by Overeem. He was significantly faster and much more free-flowing.
Oh, nice slip.
Still, Alistair's oozing self-confidence came at a cost in the third.
Battle continue. Oh, Bigfoot's landing some shots. Tension late in the second. And now Silva's starting to tee up. He uppercuts. This is a finish a fight.
Antonio would have loved the party to go on a little longer. An astounding dismantling of the Demolition Man at the hands of monstrous Bigfoot proved once again, stay away when the big boys are going at it.
Knockout by Bigfoot Silva.
The failed messiah of the Pride Royal division, Alexander Emelianenko, is considered one of the clearest examples of wasted potential. During the Japanese MMA giant's heyday, Alexander's mobile boxing style seemed like the perfect weapon against heavyweights.
I told you! And Thompson is walked by Emelianenko!
Now what did Alexander do with us?
Oh, here we go! Walks him with the left and right. It's over! Marias is already on the ring! And it's over!
Be that as it may, the younger Emelianenko couldn't overcome the elite no matter how hard he tried.
It's Krokop. Yeah, but... There it is!
I was preparing for him. Everyone saw how he ran away from me. He was afraid of my blows. By 2006, Alex had won 5 out of 7 performances in the organization.
He's got the
choke, and he goes for the rear naked choke.
It's a little high, though. He's got his chin in there.
He's tapped,
Oh,
he's tapped!
out.
And the Pride management decided to pull the old conflict between the Emelianenko brothers and their former team off the dusty shelf. Back in 2003, they left their longtime gym and have been at odds with former training partners ever since. One of those offended teammates was Sergey Kharitonov, a 2-time world champion in hand-to-hand combat with a 7-2 record in Pride.
He's along the rope, and he's gone, he's out! It's about Kharitonov not showcasing any kicking ability, but he has his own now. Just blocked!
And a knee!
And his own down, and that kick may be it!
The honor of both parties was at stake, and their representatives collided from the very beginning.
Start dropping down around his waist.
Nice right hand there by it. So if they do go to the ground, of course they do have it.
Wow.
At the 3-minute mark, Kharitonov's counter no-clipped through Emelianenko's guard.
Right, staggered Emelianenko. Action, and those are the commands.
Sergey botched the finishing sequence to his own demise.
We now go to the 6-minute mark. And now Kharitonov challenges him, and Emelianenko we're going to allow. He's unintelligibly defending himself.
Done. Oh my goodness.
Kharitonov's pride demanded more, while the chin wasn't ready for extra punches and knees.
Good stoppage by the referee.
Unfortunately, Alexander's battle with alcohol ended in brutal defeat, so the win over Sergey is the last one among his notable achievements in MMA.
45 seconds.
Standard NPCs with zero personality. That's how the former UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya described the contenders in his division. Bursting into the octagon in 2018, the last stylebender ran through the opposition in less than 2 years.
Oh my God, the spray of blood. Oh, they can stop this fight.
Final 10 seconds.
That's it.
And received a piece of gold for his efforts. Izzy kept the same energy on the mic as well.
Well, you know who I am now.
Always a pleasure to talk to, he made the fans want to keep an eye on everything happening around him. But the lackluster performance versus Yoel Romero made him a target of relentless criticism.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
The loudest of those condemning voices belonged to the Brazilian genetic freak and a secret juice ambassador, Paulo Costa.
He just run. I will make he cry.
Do you know who's next? I got this overly inflated balloon animal. This heavy Ricky Martin wannabe.
Undefeated at that point, the Eraser won all his 5 UFC bouts, releasing the judges from their duties in 4 of them. The fact that Romero, whom he'd beaten about prior, received a title shot out of order infuriated Costa even more.
It's 175. Paulo Costa is.
As soon as the horn sounded, the Brazilian powerhouse turned the antics up a notch. Still, Sir Kix-a-Lot wasn't bothered, and following an 8-minute-long leg-chopping session,
Adesanya super efficient.
fired up top. Having ruined the rival's spirit, Adesanya added an aesthetic element with a chef's kiss.
Knockdown for Adesanya. Concentrate move. That is it. Still undisputed.
Costa's ambitious plans came crashing down, resulting in the champion's visible satisfaction. 2 years later, Alex Pereira would avenge his compatriot and provide Stylebender with an out-of-body experience.
Here to bed. Trying to close. Go. Do it.
2004 was the year when one of the most high-profile confrontations of the early 2000s between Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz entered its hot phase. Dubbed the Huntington Beach Bad Boy, Ortiz not only relished in universal hatred,
and he's firing the young guns again. Shamrock very upset with the disrespect shown,
but also turned it into his own brand.
But I mean, I got a little trick for him and of course a little gift. For after the fight's over, make sure he can walk okay, I got a cane for him. That way so he can come over to the Palms to my after party at...
However, Tito had been avoiding Liddell for years.
We were friends and we had a pact, and we were never going to fight.
There was never any agreement not to fight.
And despite 5 light heavyweight title defenses, preferred money fights over deserving contenders. Since handing over the crown to Randy Couture, Ortiz lost negotiating leverage and was forced to accept the long-postponed duel.
Me and him are next.
On the other hand, Liddell, who had long been bodyguarding Tito from top-caliber foes, wanted nothing more than to put a beating on his friend-turned-enemy.
the bad boy, and
At the outset, Chuck was sniping away
Chuck Liddell, so it has been done before.
and successfully fending off takedown attempts.
There's a takedown attempt. Nice counter by Chuck.
But as soon as Ortiz found his footing striking,
Oh, big straight.
Chuck's takedown defense is excellent.
Liddell went aggro and took the round's ending.
He loves to
Nice
come over the top.
combination.
Seconds of round number 1.
Big right hand.
Combinations by Liddell and a high kick.
What is that?
In the second, things developed fast and furious.
Tito covers up. Chuck continues to tee up. Combinations, uppercuts. Chuck look at the handstand and down goes.
Tito's out.
Following a critical eye poke, the Iceman unleashed a combo by the fence. punching the bad boy from all angles with no retribution.
Amazing fight. So much anticipation over the last 2 years.
Going into the rematch 2 years down the line, Liddell was the champion with 3 defenses.
Liddell retreats. Liddell with an...
Ortiz did not lag behind and went on a win streak of 5.
Liddell are set to fight again!
But the attempt at retaliation led to a disaster.
Tito tries to answer. Chuck comes around the top. Chuck looking to close.
He's not hurting him here, but Tito has to move.
And it is...
Unable to withstand the shelling, Tito collapsed to the canvas. And just like that, one of the most heated rivalries in UFC history was put on pause. The third meeting of retired veterans in 2018 was nothing more than a cash grab with little to no competitive element.
A shot. We'll just commit.
Oh, there Ortiz takes the right hand. Liddell's down, and Liddell is out!
Not everyone is born a villain. That would be too mundane. What's interesting, though, is watching a hero develop scrupulous traits during his journey. Case in point, the metamorphosis of Covington, former Mr. Nice Guy. An all-American wrestler on a winning streak, Colby used to show respect and sportsmanship to opponents.
Grinding pace.
Yet, due to his uncatchy fighting style, in 2017 he was on the verge of being fired and was forced to embrace the dark side of promotional strategies.
I should have knocked him out! Brazil, you're a dog! All you filthy animals suck!
Having turned his mouth into an assault weapon, Covington captured the welterweight interim belt before outpacing the aging Robbie Lawler.
Not unlike Lawler. Nice combination from Covington.
Nevertheless, the opportunity to compete for the real King of the Mountain title presented itself only at the end of 2019, with Kamaru Usman occupying the top of the division. 4 years had passed since the Nigerian Nightmare conquered the Ultimate Fighter, and his flawless streak of 14 culminated in a merciless deposition of Tyron Woodley.
Down, nothing doing.
As grotesque as Covington's promises to make America great again were,
the only thing you're losing faster than your hairline is that Power Ranger belt.
Curbing chaos in the cage was not so easy.
Here we go.
Colby banked the opening rounds, albeit at the cost of his jaw.
I think I broke my jaw.
Leading up to the final stretch, the initiative got passed around more often than a blunt among Snoop Dogg's crew, resulting in a firework culmination of this barn burner. A series of knockdowns at the last minute forced the referee to step in and put a period at the end of this cautionary tale. 2 years later, Jorge Masvidal would break open his own can full of ass-whooping treats. Despite their first fight with Usman being a lullaby affair,
Whitman likes...
in the second, Jorge would get viciously drowned on the shore.
And of all the superlatives...
The conflict between Garbrandt and Dillashaw is nothing more than an episode of TJ's confrontation with his former teammates, who got angry when he switched gyms. However, the bantamweight king at the time was so eager to render the traitor senseless, as if Dillashaw had insulted him personally.
You can do all the conditioning in the world with your new coach. You can't condition that fucking chin of yours.
Come on, buddy.
Cody took it further, releasing a video of their sparring session where he drops TJ, and leaked Dillashaw's sketchy practices as the CEO of EPO, but clearly didn't think those accusations through.
Funny, you're the one that showed everyone how to do it on Team Alpha Male.
Still undefeated, Garbrandt had 4 knockouts and 6 triumphant UFC performances.
We're going to see a sprint to the finish. Oh, he hurt him! He hurt him!
The last of them being a thorough deconstruction of the champion, Dominic Cruz. Dillashaw, who'd lost the crown to Cruz a year before, came back with 2 dominant victories.
Oh, nice counter right
In addition, TJ's team on The Ultimate Fighter beat the Team Alpha Male squad, which only added fuel to the flame of hatred. When these two finally went mano a mano, it could have easily been over in the first, after Cody landed a bomb.
You have that same fighter's mentality. Big knockdown for Cody! There's the horn to end round one. Right hand drops him bad.
But in the second, the champion's overconfidence came to bite him. TJ wiped the smile off Garbrandt's face with a hefty punch and claimed the throne for the second time. Even still, Cody's obsession with revenge made him demand an instant rematch, which he was granted.
It's a lot tighter in there. Another right hand. Garbrandt nearly out on his feet. Big right hand. In a world of trouble. Big knee. Oh, that's it. TJ Dillashaw has done it.
TJ implemented small adjustments into his game, and his former buddy got no love. Known for being a really tough kid, Nick Diaz,
where I come from, people like that get slapped,
made it really far in MMA. In the early 2000s, he was considered a ground game virtuoso. Moreover, as his boxing skill progressed, Nick would get the job done on the feet as well.
Scraping the body. They're gone. They're absolutely wide. Down goes Zaromsky.
The first real test came in 2004 in the face of dangerous power puncher Robbie Lawler.
And you see Diaz.
In a duel where Stockton's favorite son introduced the world to the art of psychological warfare,
Taunting him a bit. Maybe that hip injury to Pete Spratt. Diaz right hand.
Stalking and taunting, Nick channeled the energy of the violent 209 streets.
Lawler trying to swing for the fence.
And again, that could be because he's got experience. Why would I say
combination.
Diaz Instigating Robbie to rush in, Diaz met him with a short right hook that sliced through the non-existent defense of the rabid Lawler.
The right hook, bang! In the exchange!
One of the most prominent clashes in Nick's career was the one with former UFC champion Frank Shamrock. Pre-fight trash talk didn't help Frank in the cage, though.
I'm like Frank Shamrock with better boxing. I'm gonna walk right through that and punch a hole in his head. He slaps like a girl.
To the deafening roar of the crowd, Nick sent Shamrock straight into retirement with a flurry of brutal body shots.
Moving in. The living legend goes down, continuing, and it's over.
Wow. To his credit, Diaz helped the veteran up, saying, "Come on, man, people are watching. You're the legend."
That's why I love the sport.
Another eternal classic is the action-packed title scrap with Paul Daly, which took place in 2011. The scandalous Brit who'd got cut from the UFC for punching after the bell unleashed his signature left hook right away.
And he comes back down. Oh! And down goes. And here they go.
Coming back from the depths of hell halfway through the first round,
Daly jumping on him.
Nick kept up the ragged pace and broke the enemy at the end.
Oh, a beautiful uppercut. Looping right hand. Daly falling. Is in trouble. 11 seconds.
The Brit was brawl with all his heart and blew up his shot in the locker for the belt anyway.
He got those hands down. He was able to hurt him with that
And he still
right punch.
John Jones is one of those fighters who have become victims of their own invulnerability. Unable to control his dark impulses, he would make the octagon seem like a purgatory. Bones' wild and violent nature would break out on occasion. And then the mask was on again. Although John's 8th title defense versus Daniel Cormier resulted in a clear decision win for the champ,
And he got him down again at the end. Look at this.
Goes the distance. Maybe all the bad blood has not boiled over.
the tension between them did not go away.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
Leading up to their rematch in 2017, a lot had changed. Jones, who had lost the belt due to legal problems and a doping scandal, was now a contender. At the same time, the 38-year-old Olympian managed to capture the vacant strap, traveling to hell
trouble with Big.
And back against Rumble Johnson.
It's all over.
2 successful defenses only solidified his position. Before the sequel, DC promised to break bones.
You're like a crackhead with a suit on.
I could look like a crackhead with a suit on, but I've never been a crackhead like you don't.
Jones openly questioned the successor's legitimacy and was going to fulfill the prophecy made 2 years prior.
Being able to pick out some pretty good tendencies that he has that I will exploit against him.
So don't think you're going to kick me in the head with your left leg.
Cormier kept the pressure on the MMA wonderkind for 2 rounds.
Second one.
DC's seeing everything as well.
But couldn't escape destiny.
Hard time reaching John. Oh, John landed a high kick. He's hurt.
Jones trying to press the issue.
That's it. He's out. He's out.
Jones has done it.
Unfortunately, Jones's return to the mountaintop was overshadowed by another doping violation. Despite the bout being declared a no contest, Jones proved that he could come back after a long hiatus and still put on one of the greatest performances in MMA history.
Time reaching John.
With more retirements than title defenses,
Who the fuck is that guy?
Conor McGregor was destined to be viral with engaging storylines for the media.
When you sign to fight me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we done it. We're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties.
He was shockingly accurate predicting the outcomes of his fights.
I said 2 minutes, I meant 2 rounds.
And conquered hearts with charisma and hefty fists.
Marcus is hurt. This is why everyone's been talking about Conor McGregor.
It's all over.
Brandon looks hurt. This could be the end. This could be an early stoppage.
The Irishman's first test was the 145-pound showdown against Dustin Poirier in 2014. Poirier may have been considered an elite grappler by featherweight standards.
Poirier got him there. Nicely bar at the same time. He's going to break his arm.
It is all over.
As well as a heavy hitter.
Oh, big uppercut there for Poirier. Oh, Coruscant's in a world of pain here.
Still, in a verbal confrontation, McGregor was head and shoulders above.
If Conor could fight half as good as he can speak, you know, I think it would be.
Every single contest he gets in, he hits one knee. He does a gust of wind and he does the chicken dance. You know what I mean?
The Notorious did not disappoint when push came to shove. Guided by the images he saw in his crystal ball, Mystic Mac put Poirier to sleep in the middle of the first round.
Hands at his hips. Having a conversation. Looking to finish the fight.
That's it.
It is
It's
all over. Just like that.
Wow.
The subsequent clashes with Chad Mendes.
Conor, do you know what wrestling is?
I can rest my balls on your forehead.
Yeah, I know.
And Eddie Alvarez.
Sorry I'm late, I just don't give a fuck!
Are the stuff of legend.
Finish him here. It's all over.
Loose, getting better here in this round, though.
Oh, man.
Until that.
He's done.
It is all.
And the year-long promotional campaign preceding the unification bout with Jose Aldo in 2015 was peak TV drama.
Otario. You know what that means? Pussy.
With a historic 13-second long finale.
Relaxed and smiling.
Oh! Just
slapped him.
like that! Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world!
Meanwhile, following a bunch of heinous incidents, Conor finally ran out of steam. Going into the Poirier Dillashaw, the Irishman tried to ditch the heel gimmick. But in January of 2021, McGregor was facing one of the craftiest boxers at lightweight, rather than a wild slugger, which was on full display in the sequel.
Now a right hand. Oh, he's hurt. He's got to go back to the count. Oh, big left and now a right.
Man.
Oh my God.
That's the ball.
Nowadays, Michael Bisping is seen as determination personified.
I know that I'm better than this.
Sounds like the worst self-help book you've ever read. Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up.
outright refusing to accept universal claims about his upper bound limits. In 2016, he introduced Luke Rockhold to left hook Larry. That victory instantly turned the Count into a fan favorite.
Thanks, Luke.
And yet, just a decade prior, the glib-tongued Brit's bad guy persona was working so well that beating him could transform anyone into a folk hero.
Michael Bisping defeats Jorge Rivera!
Although it did not prevent the 17-1 Bisping from quickly ascending towards the top. UFC 100 was planned as the last intermediary stop. Former two-weight Pride champion Dan Henderson lost both of his UFC title shots.
And this main event of the evening.
But got back on track with a couple of victories.
Good right uppercut. Big shot right there.
The 9th season of The Ultimate Fighter, where they coached the US and British teams respectively, became a point of no return. The Englishman sabotaged interaction attempts, and too often overwhelmed the opponent's computing powers with complicated babbling.
Hey. What the you do that for?
Had the water, saw him, squeezed my hand, and he got squirted in the face.
Hendo wasn't going to let Bisping get away with it, and was eager to sort it out the old school way.
Bisping just was just a little bitch.
Taking the necessary time and holding back the H-bomb, Dan programmed Michael to circulate to his left. In the second frame, the wait was over, and Henderson produced the best knockout of 2009.
That's all! He's down! And it is all over!
Out of nowhere, Hendo shut the British trash talker's lights out with the most explosive blast since the Big Bang.
Boom! Separates him from his senses, and this right here is revenge.
In their rematch for the belt 7 years later,
Stays right here, pal.
Bisping would be in for a rough night.
He has done a nice job. Oh, he's right! The right hand again! Oh! Again with the right!
But having survived a string of knockdowns, he would get the decision, and Hendo would go on a well-deserved rest.
But not bad for an old man, huh?
Hard time reaching John.
There's only so many heated rivalries we can fit into one video. If you want to see more, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and vote for sport.